Good morning, rise in freedom. It's the Wake Up America show with your guest host this week, Justin Peterson. I am filling in this week for Austin, who is away with his wife, Stephanie, in Japan. And we are now halfway through the week. We're halfway through the week. It's almost done. I'm feeling pretty accomplished here. This is now 60% of my Wake Up America show experience is complete and behind me. Well, at the end of today's show, actually. So I am excited to be here with you all, excited to have this time together. I'm really watching Austin's being so good about sending a lot of photographs and videos and everything of that's going on over in Japan. So it's been really fun to get to see that. And I say, keep sending videos so I can continue to see what's going on with him. So hope everyone's getting their coffee ready. I've got my water here. I already had my coffee this morning. And I hope your week is well. It's halfway through. And hope things are going well. Great to be here with you. I'm learning so much being in this position. I think we should start a new trend where we just hand the Wake Up America show off to different people and say, okay, here, you do it for a week. Maybe Austin would have some issues with that. But no, it's been a great experience and I've really enjoyed it. And it has been a learning experience. So great to see you here this morning. Good morning to Matt Unruh. Good morning to Caleb Vanderfelt is here. Joni Rankin is here. Michael Nipp is here. Good morning to everybody. Great to see you. I anticipate people will start to trickle in as we go. Last night I was listening to a Twitter space. I don't know if any of you go on Twitter to listen to some of the conversations that go on there when speakers will go live. But last night I listened to a really great, I think it was like 3 or 4 hour Twitter space on gun control and trans rights, and it was so good. And there were so many really good speakers that were participating. Oh, I see Camelia's here. Hello, Camelia. Great to see you. One of the speakers, it was a mixed bag of speakers, which I like, of course. As a person who wants to get diversity of viewpoints, I want to hear what a lot of people have to say on things. I love good, rigorous debate. I'm a sucker for good debates. And Vivek Ramaswamy, I think that's how you say his last name, was speaking, as well as Eric Weinstein and some other people. Blair White was in there. Sarah Higdon was in there. And it was a real lively and a really good conversation and respectful, which I always like, and I love good debates when people play by the rules. The takeaway that I heard from Vivek, which was really interesting, was that, we're sort of under this idea that we're living in this right or left America, which is really an old cliche. What he said, and I thought was very interesting, is that we're really living in a country where certain people hold to the principles and the founding principles of our nation, and other people that don't. And those people are interspersed throughout the right and the left. And I thought that was chef's kiss, a beautiful sort of statement on where we're at. I mean, I think that you're either on the side of libertarianism or you're on the side of authoritarianism. And I was really heartened to see that discussion yesterday. So I just wanted to share that off the bat. Hope you all are doing good. Okay, so let's see. Got to see where I'm going here with everything. Cool. So I'm going to just jump right in. Yesterday, the body cam footage was released from the Covenant School in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm not going to show it here because obviously it's very violent. It wouldn't, it's you can find it if you need to watch it. I did see it. It was absolutely heart-poundingly dramatic, and the thing that I took away from the video was two things. The first thing was this was such a masterclass in how you handle an active shooter. I think they call it breach and clear is the name for it. More military-ish people maybe can correct me, but I think it's called a breach and clear. It was so well coordinated. These people were it was so well done. In this cultural time where we're being told to hate men and men are terrible and what are men good for? That's what men are good for. Being freaked out by stuff like that. So it just made me go, yeah, this is why we need men. This is why we need men. And also, I think the other thing about this video, it really pointed up the terrible handling of the Uvalde shooter. So, I mean, it really set up a contrast. Police active police here in Nashville who were able to go in and neutralize the situation, and then Uvalde who were just kind of like standing around with their thumbs up their rear ends. So, it was an incredible thing to watch. And so, it's like stunning because you feel, that's real. It's not like watching a movie where it's like, oh, it's real. So, anyway, good morning, everybody. Hope you all are doing good. I've got my computer down here today. I was putting it over here yesterday, and I kept watching my video, and I was like, oh, try to get more centered, Justin. I'm giving myself like critiques as I go here. So without further ado, let's sort of jump into what's going on right now with the situation going on in Nashville. This morning's title on the show was, are we experiencing a Nashville Psyop? And I'm inclined to think that we do. We are experiencing a Nashville Psyop. One of the things that's occurred right now is that we do know that the shooter has a manifesto, has published a manifesto, but right now it's being suppressed or it's not being released. Now, I haven't done a lot of research on this. I'm sorry to say, I don't know the turnaround time in the past on manifesto release. So in the past, when we have had situations where there have been active shooters, what was the turnaround time on a release of a manifesto? Usually, in my experience, if memory serves, I feel like the turnaround time is pretty quick, like maybe a couple days. It's not something that we wait on. So my sort of feeling is that we should, obviously, if we want to know more about what's going on in the situation and what caused this information or caused this tragedy to occur, we should want to see the manifesto. And I'm always skeptical, just in general. I'm very skeptical of the suppression of information. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Bring things into the light so that we can understand what they are and what's going on. There are certain LGBTQ plus IA, whatever groups that are, kind of saying, no, we don't want to release this. So speaking at a press conference here this is from Newsweek, speaking at a press conference hours after the shooting, Metropolitan Nashville Police Chief John Drake, who said the shooter identified as transgender, confirmed the officials were in possession of a manifesto, a map detailing how the incident would take place, and writings that pertain to this date, the actual incident. Some conservatives, like Tennessee Republican Representative Tim Burchett, have called for the release of the document, arguing that doing so would give the public critical information about the perpetrator's state of mind. We need to know what was going on through this person's head, and the manifesto should be made public, Burchett told Fox News Digital in a Monday statement. And again, the LGBTQ people, rights activists disagree with that. They say it should be suppressed. I don't think anybody is above the law. I don't think any group of people is above the law. I think if some member of a group of people commits a crime, obviously let's not monolith. Let's not assume that one person's actions determine the feelings or thoughts of an entire group of people. That's a fallacy. That is totally a fallacy. So what I'd be curious to see is what is in that manifesto? What is it saying? Jared Pierce here is saying the manifesto is one long neo-Marxist talking point. I have to say that, the assumption is that if you're not releasing the information, that this is an ideologue, right? There's something about an logical viewpoint that is being suppressed or that we don't want people to know about. But I have a very strong feeling that the public has a right to know what happened because in a free country, in a free society, it's our right to know what's going on. Otherwise, what's going to happen is this is going to create more conspiracy theories, right? All that does is when you don't put things out in the light, you foment conspiracy theories and misinformation, and it's never a good thing. So I'm very much on the side of releasing the information on this manifesto so that we can know as the public and know what's going on. So, yeah. So, and another issue today, this is from Post Millennial. The USA Today newspaper was accusing the Nashville police officers of misgendering a trans school shooter who killed 6 people. So the individual who was identified was a biological female whose social media accounts indicate that she preferred to be addressed by he, him pronouns, which, okay. Police said that Hale was a woman throughout their reports, but said during the press conference on Monday afternoon that she identified as trans. The USA Today wrote in a tweet, police on Monday afternoon said that the shooter was a transgender man. Officials had initially misidentified the gender of the shooter. This tweet had led to some criticism. And of course, that started a firestorm on social media because, again, it's deflecting from what are the actual victims in this case. And it's sort of making the perpetrator the victim. One particular person, Natalie Danilishan, sorry, I won't pronounce that right, said, I don't give an S about your pronouns if you shoot up a school. You're a psychopath if you hurt people, full stop. And another, Libby Emmons wrote, it's not the children killed that triggered USA Today. It's that the suspect's delusion was not upheld by police. Yikes. So obviously emotions are clearly running high on this particular issue. And I think that one of the things that's occurring that I'm monitoring in this space is that there is a phenomenon known as DARVO, D-A-R-V-O, which, let me see if I can get to my little tweet. Here it is. It's a well-known tactic. Let me share my screen. Oh yeah, I am sharing my screen. Okay, sorry. I'm on 2 screens at once. So I was like, wait, I'm not sharing my screen. The DARVO is a well-known tactic that abusers use to try to escape accountability for their abusive actions. So DARVO is an acronym which stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. So how does this work? When someone's called out for something, the abuser will first deny any responsibility. Well, we've already sort of tried to see that as the trans identification, the transgenderization of this particular suspect has been worked to be suppressed. They don't want, that's not a part of the issue. Transgender isn't part of the issue. And then they attack the victims, right? So this is already happening when we're seeing them being attacked for being Christians, right? Well, the Christian rhetoric did this, and they're right-wingers and alt-right. That's what's going on in this attack stage. And then finally, the abuser will claim that they were the true victim in the situation, through gaslighting. So this is a quote here from NBC News, a tweet that says, fear pervades Tennessee's trans community amid focus on Nashville shooter's gender identity. We were already fearing for our lives. Now it's even worse. This is classic DARVO. This is reversing who the victim in the situation is so that they can claim that they're actually the real victim. So it wasn't the perpetrator's victims, these poor kids, 9-year-olds who were killed in their school. No. It's the transgender perpetrator who is really the true victim here. This is an abuse tactic, y'all, and you need to be able to see it. And you need to be able to call it out for what it is. It is an abuse strategy. So when you see people sort of trying to prop up any perpetrator, and this can happen in personal relationships. This happens in personal relationships all the time. When you see this, you've got to call it out for what it is, because it is abuse. It is a tactic of abuse. So this is part of that Psyop that I'm talking about. You know, the gaslighting that's already beginning about this issue. So be on the lookout for it. In other news, a reporter for NBC, a freelance reporter, if you needed to know about media bias, here's your Exhibit A. He was ripped for linking the Nashville shooting to Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire. So again, this is that DARVO. This is DARVO right here. This is DARVO. This is a complete 100% clinical example of what DARVO is. I'm going to, deny it and attack, reverse it back to you. You're the person who caused the problem. And he got called out on the carpet, which he should, because again, we also understand that correlation does not equal causation. The shooter, let's see what if I highlighted any of this to read. No, so this is just, I wanted to share this as an example of a completely beautiful example of DARVO. This is DARVO. So please, when you see this on social media, call that stuff out. Anywhere you see it, call it out. It's when someone tries to say, well, I killed you, but I'm really the victim here. It's this idea we have to shift blame back to what? Society as a whole, these Christians, the rhetoric that they were using. So this is a well-known tactic that abusers use again. They deny any responsibility. They attack the victims. Finally, the abuser will claim that they were the true victim in the situation, and they gaslight you. So it fails if you can spot it and you can notice that it's being used. So this is a tactic. So just be on the lookout for this gaslighting that's going on. So let's see, where am I going now? Oh, yes. Let's see. When I think about, people are, we've gone through this situation, obviously people are going to their corners, right? Everyone's saying, we need gun control laws. And then the other side is saying, we don't need gun control laws. We need stronger schools. I really feel like the other piece of this puzzle with this shooter is that the shooter almost went to another school, but decided not to because security was stronger at that other school. So that school had hardened the targets had hardened the target. The other school, this Christian school, didn't have security, so it was a softer target. Therein is the issue, right? Vivek Ramaswamy yesterday was saying in this Twitter space, he doesn't understand why airports, banks, different places like that have very high security, and yet schools don't. I think at this point in the game, you're going to need to do that. I mean, the Second Amendment isn't going anyplace. I'm sorry, it's just not going anyplace. So that needs to occur. We need people to fortify and harden these targets of schools, which is what needs to happen. Of course, Austin, Austin, he's got some strong feelings. He yesterday was tweeting from Japan. Jess Piper wrote, "We banned lawn darts after 3 kids died in accidents. We banned a dresser from IKEA because it was flawed and killed 8 children. Meanwhile, 22 kids are shot every day with guns. 5 will die every single day. The Republicans refuse any measures to curb the violence. They don't care." But Austin says, "Stack the bodies up a mile high. Stand in their corpses with your heels digging into their eyes and groins while you prattle on. Rights are rights." I wish Austin had more ability to express how he feels about things. He's really, I find, not an effective communicator of his true feelings. So I just, this made me laugh last night. Thanks, Og, for that. But I think, I'm coming more into this, I've said this week, I'm a liberal, I'm a disaffected liberal. Guns always have made me kind of a little sketchy, a little nervous, whatever. But, coming after everything I've seen, I realize that, the right to self-defense is an innate human right. And the reason that we have the Second Amendment is to defend us from a tyrannical government, period. And that's why we have it. So, I do believe that, the Second Amendment's not going anyplace, and we need to figure out that, what's going on with that. So anyway, Austin can always be counted on for a hot take. I always like to tease Austin. He's my gadfly brother. He's my gadfly. He loves to take the pile of poo-poo, and he just likes to stir the poo-poo. So yeah, good job. Good job, Austin, for stirring the poo-poo. But I did want to show that, another thing I wanted to say too about this was that, several years ago, we were going through the George Floyd riots and we were hearing this idea about defund the police, right? Defund the police, defund the police. Well, in that moment, you killed any argument about gun control, period. Because if your argument is, we'll just get rid of police, the only recourse then people are going to have, if you have no police force, is to take matters into their own hands. So as far as I'm concerned, the gun control debate has been kicked down the pike probably a good 10 years, 20 years. We're not going to be able to have that debate. You cannot say defund the police in one breath and then also not expect people to be able to defend themselves. It's just absolutely, stupid. Okay, so that's what I want to say. And then finally, This was very interesting. I found this on TMZ yesterday. An entrepreneur inventor had a creative and seemingly effective way for teachers and students to protect themselves against school shootings, a safe room that is embedded into classrooms. We talked to Kevin Thomas Tuesday on TMZ Live, and he broke down a product he sells through his company, KT Solutions. It's basically 4 foldable walls. They look like dry erase whiteboards. A teacher can quickly pull out to create a bulletproof shelter to hide kids in a nightmare like the one in Nashville. So I'm going to try to play this. I hope this is going to work. It might be a little laggy, but we'll give it a whirl. So here we go. This is an example of him pulling out this wall. Boop, there it was. So I'm gonna play that one more time. Oops, no I'm not. They decided not to. Yeah, so again, why do I play this? Because I feel like here we are again. Here's a situation where the private sector has solved a problem that the seemingly, officials in our government can't seem to solve. So, Austin's always saying the private sector always does it better. And I'm like, well, here is, another example of why that is true. Here's a guy who says, here, I'll figure it out myself. But, I don't know. I think that, obviously I don't know the solutions to this. I'm not coming on here and saying, oh, I know exactly what we should do. I'm not as presumptuous to know that. But, I do know that, we do have to do something about it. And we have to, figure out a way to make it work. So anyway, I'm sorry if, I don't have like the hot takes of like, well, here's what Justin said we should do. Because please don't put me on anything like that. Let Austin be the one. Let Austin be the one. By pointing at him, do it him. Let Austin be the one. Take him first. So anyway, yeah. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. I am really glad to see y'all. All right, so some other things I wanted to cover today. I have another story here on Matt Taibbi, which I will probably do after a break. It looks like I'm coming up here on a break pretty shortly. Matt Taibbi got visited by the FBI, which of course wasn't an intimidation tactic at all. So yeah. Anyway, I will be back here after a short commercial break to talk a little bit about Matt Taibbi and his visit by the FBI. So stay with me, and I'll see you after the break.
Were you exposed to hazardous materials while serving in the military and have an illness or condition as a result?
If so, you may be eligible for VA benefits and services.
Whether you need health care or want to file a disability compensation claim related to military exposures, VA is here to help.
Visit va.gov/military-exposures to learn more and apply today.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
The trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
If I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors, what would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist. Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I am glad that you are here. Thanks for joining me today. I am the substitute teacher. Miss Nelson is missing, and I will be taking over the class for the next couple days. It's been a really great week so far. I've really been enjoying being here, and it's just been a real light news week. It's been a real light news week. Nothing really going on. It's just light, stories about kittens and puppies and, rainbows. It's been awesome. So thanks for hanging in with me. Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you're here. Clearly gun rights and gun ownership and how we're going to solve the problem of all of this is causing all of us to really react very hyper emotionally. So again, I would just caution us to try to access our rational capabilities and our rational faculties as we interact with these things. The chat is getting quite spicy, shall we say. So I would just say, Austin says, I'd rather that everybody, treat each other as they would if they were meeting in person. So I would ask that everybody do that as well. Be respectful of each other's opinions and views. Personal attacks are just kind of though personal attacks aren't arguments, they're ad hominems. So try to avoid them whenever possible. Wanted to share this story here on New York Post that the IRS visited Twitter Files journalist Matt Taibbi's home the same day as his congressional testimony. An IRS agent stopped by the home of Twitter Files journalist Matt Taibbi the same day of his congressional testimony on the weaponization of the government. How appropriate. According to House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, who's demanding an explanation over the oddly timed visit. They visited him. Taibbi has been deeply involved in researching and reporting on the Twitter files based off of a trove of internal documents at the social media giant meant to expose unfair bias in the company's past content moderation and the social media giant's previous contact with government officials. The journalist told Jordan's committee about the IRS agent's visit that occurred the same day that he spoke to House members before the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government to testify on what he learned from the Twitter files. His 2021 return was at first rejected and then rejected again after he refiled, despite his accountant's refiling with an IRS-provided PIN number, he said. For those asking, I don't want to comment on the IRS issue. Pending an answer to Chairman Jim Jordan's letter, Taibbi wrote, I'm not worried for myself, but I did feel the committee should be aware of the situation. Revelations about the IRS visit come after Taibbi told Democrats on the subcommittee butted heads during his hours-long testimony along with fellow Twitter Files journalist Michael Schellenberger. Taibbi, a longtime Rolling Stone reporter, responded to a jab from Virgin Islands Representative Stacey Plaskett at one point, listing his career accomplishments and saying, I'm not a so-called journalist. When you use the arm of the government to intimidate people, that is called fascism. That is classic fascism. And just goes to what Benito Mussolini said. Everything within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state. So if this is true, and the IRS did come to visit Mr. Taibbi at his home in an attempt to intimidate him, that is, to me, classic. That is fascist. That's fascist behavior. There should be none of this in a free country and in a free society. Joe Rogan, who of course is his own sort of firebrand, said this week that we would be FUCKED if it wasn't for independent journalists. And I kind of agree. Where are we supposed to go? The mainstream media has obviously shown its hand repeatedly throughout the COVID crisis, throughout the George Floyd riots, throughout all of this stuff going on now with Nashville, that they really can't be trusted with accuracy or the neutrality of the news cycle. On a recent episode of his podcast, Rogan said that, if it wasn't for the private journalists, the independent journalists, we would be in a pickle. We would be in a really bad state because a lot of people got duped by the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, the military industrial complex. Rogan said if you can get the narrative out through the traditional pipelines of mainstream media with no one fact-checking, no one interfering, no independent journalists saying, actually, that's not true at all. Here's why they did that. This was the influence. Here's where the money is. We have emails. We can show you they were influenced. If it wasn't for them, we would be effed. And it's one of the beautiful things about the internet today. The internet today allows people like that to thrive because these mainstream corporations are so corrupt. They're so obviously indebted to the companies that pay for their advertising. Hello. I mean, has anybody been catching that so many of these news cycles have been sponsored by Pfizer? Literally, they're paying for ad space for the news. Oh, yeah. So I just think that this is really quite an intimidation tactic if they're actually showing up at your door to intimidate you. So we should all be on alert for that. But it just goes to show, when the government says, oh, they just want to go after the big guy. No, they don't. They want to come after you too. Now, this next story makes me kind of sad, actually, but maybe happy for some reasons. This is from the Daily Mail. Disney will begin to fire 7,000, just like the Seven Dwarfs, of its global staff this week, CEO Bob Iger announces, after share prices plunged 31% in a year following a series of woke controversies. So they're going to be eliminating 7,000 jobs effective on Monday of this week to try to save the company. The cuts are coming after they reported profits of $23.51 billion, which exceeded their expectations, but the company's stock price has sunk over 30% in the past year as it faces controversy over previous CEO Bob Chapek's disastrous wading into the culture wars. Here's the thing. Disney is I love Disney. I absolutely love Disney. I grew up on it. I mean, the first story I think my mother ever read to me when I was a little boy was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I just loved it. And I fell in love with it. And I can actually remember when I went to the theater in 1983, they brought Snow White back because at the time, I don't know if y'all remember this, but they didn't they didn't do videos. Back in my day, they didn't have home videos. We didn't do that stuff. We had, we didn't even have laser discs. We just went to the movie because that's where they would bring the movie back. So Disney had this tradition of bringing back movies to the theaters. And I can remember in 1983 going to see Snow White on the big screen. And of course I knew the story because I don't know if y'all remember this too, but they used to have the Disney books with the tape or the record, and you would know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this, and then the chimes would ring. So I knew Snow White back and forth. I could literally recite that book from memory. And 7,000 Dwarfs, Quest Fanning writes 7,000 Dwarfs. Yes. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to work you never go. Oh, we dig in our mind the whole day through. Okay, I won't sing the whole song. I know you want me to. But yeah, the experience of these Disney films is such an indelible part to me of the 20th century American experience, you know. And I feel like if you don't want to get your company, if you don't want to if you wade into political waters, you have to understand what you're courting, what you're welcoming in. Unfortunately, people said no, and they were like, nope, we don't want to be a part of this. And so DeSantis in Florida celebrated with the stroke of his pen, making the Disney corporate kingdom coming to an end as he vowed to make the company pay its fair share of taxes. I think they were using a tax loophole, right? But part of the agreement of certain tax loopholes is that you don't engage in in politics. This is also true of churches. I know that there are certain non-for-profit status tax designations for churches that it's embedded that the church cannot become politically activated, and as it should be. We need that. So the minute you want to make it political, you're going to have political games played on you. The Sunshine State now has the power over the formerly self-governing special tax-exempt district encompassing the entire Walt Disney World Resort, which was established in 1967. Play dumb games, win dumb prizes. Disney loses self-governing status. The state of Florida is the new sheriff in town, he said at a press briefing Monday. Buckle up, there's a lot to get done. The entertainment industry has undergone a retreat since its early euphoric embrace of video streaming when established media companies lost billions as they launched competitors to Netflix. They started to rein in spending when Netflix posted its first loss of subscribers in a decade in early 2022, and Wall Street began prioritizing profitability over subscriber growth. So they're going to be finding out over the next several days who's going to stay and who's going to go. ESPN is not really touched by this. Interesting to me. That's an interesting takeaway because I feel like sports has not been penetrated yet by a lot of these ideas because sports is largely a meritocracy, which is a great liberal value, that the cream rises to the top in sports. It has to, right? It's also interesting that Netflix itself, did I highlight that? Netflix has actually seen a rebound because they got the message to kind of eliminate some of this more neo-Marxist communist programming, and they saw that their numbers went back up. So I feel like Disney, boy, they have the corner on fantasy. They have the corner on dreams and hopes and wishes and all of that stuff, things that are beautiful. That shouldn't be under the influence of political machinations. That should be free for all Americans to enjoy what it means to have a dream, to follow a dream. Walt Disney was building his company on core American principles and values, that people can achieve dreams, that you can go for what you want, positive things that have inspired millions of people all over the world. So to now infuse wokeism or any kind of political ideologies into the company, the chickens are coming home to roost, right? The chickens, and that's what we're seeing here. So yeah, Disney, come on, get back on track. Make a plurality what I'm trying to say. Make art for a plurality of people. Make things for everybody. Restore your content and make it good again, and make things American. Meritocracy, working hard, taking responsibility, have a dream, inspiring stories, right? These are things that we go to Disney for. And now people can't even go. I mean, I'm sorry to say that the ticket prices at Disney have just gone absolutely bananas. It's just, yeah, it's really unfortunate. So hopefully Disney will get themselves put together again and right the ship, hopefully. All right, so let me scooch over here. This is another story that I thought was really funny. This week, I believe, in Mississippi, there was a broadcaster. Her name was Barbie Bassett, and nice little white lady, and she quoted Snoop Dogg. My signal's going down a little bit. She quoted Snoop Dogg on the air and got into some hot water when she said what she did. So on The View, Whoopi Goldberg came out and said that just because they're on TV doesn't mean that they know what they're not supposed to do. Goldberg said, someone should make a book of stuff that no one can say. Sure. And then you have to update it every 5 minutes because it changes constantly. The things that change, you can't say this, but you can't say that, but next week you might not be able to say this. It's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up. And if you're a person of a certain age, there's stuff that we do and we say. She added that just because we're on television doesn't mean we know everything. Well, thank you for that. We don't know everything you're not supposed to do. And if there's something that someone says, if you're not going to give them the opportunity to explain why they said it, at least give them the grace of saying, you know what? I've just been informed that I should not have done that, as opposed to you're out. Because saying you're out means that you don't want to hear what people have to say or the mistakes that they might have made that could have helped somebody else not make that mistake, she continued. Again, cancel culture. But it doesn't exist, you guys. It's just an idea. Cancel culture, it's just an idea. It's not real. It's just an idea. And then I believe what happened with this story, which was really funny, was that Charlemagne the God came out, which... he's a rapper, if you guys don't know who he is. And he defended this lady who got fired for stating her views. He said that, it's silly. And the lady probably didn't know what she was saying. She'd probably just heard it. It had become a trope and a cultural word, and it wasn't a fireable offense, okay? This hyper, what I like to call pearl clutching that's going on. People say something that's like, oh no, this is probably a white lady who heard that and didn't know what it meant. She was older and just said it, and boop, she's gone. So she can't say, I don't even know if I can say it. I don't know if I can say it. Faux shizzle, Oh, I guess because is a derivative of I'm saying that in context. I didn't mean to say, I'm not using that word, Charlotte, let me clarify. That's why. I don't know if that's fireable. That's the thing with hip hop, man. Hip hop is so big and so mainstream, and it's just like, who can consume it and who can't? You know what I mean? Charlemagne said, who can repeat slang and who can't? So again, it's like, who owns what words again, right? I just think this is just so nutty, just absolutely nutty. But again, this whole thing with Whoopi Goldberg, I love this phrase that people say, I never thought that the leopards would eat my face, said the person that voted for the People Eating Leopards Faces party. When you stand by to see people getting canceled, here's what I say. The mob will always come for you. The mob will always come for you. You're not safe from the mob. No one is safe. So if we don't stand up and say, no, stop this. This is not what we do in a liberal society. Knock it off. The mob will come for you. So just be very careful of the webs that you weave at the end of the day. So... All right, so we got about 15-ish minutes left. I got a few things left. I wanted to share this hysterically cringy story of this couple that is now a throuple. So get ready. If you have children, if you have small children, you might want to take them out of the room. Let me go into my, so I can get the... Hang on 1 second. It doesn't look like it's sharing my screen. Hang on 1 second, guys. This is the hold music. For some reason, my browser seems to be frozen. I don't know what's going on. Oh no, I didn't plan for this. Let's see. Hold on the phone, please. Hold on the phone. Da 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 da. Bum bum ba dum bum. Dum bum ba dum bum. Dun 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 dun. Bear with. Okay, I think I got this. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Here we go. I got it. Sorry, y'all. It took me a second. You got a little free music there for you. Meet the couple who opened their 11-year marriage to a divorced father so that they could grow emotionally and sexually. Now, if you've got kids in the room, you might want to just put them in front of like Bob's Builder Burgers or something. I don't know. Maybe take them out of the room. We're going to talk about adult things now. A little spice here. So this is a couple, Kim. Oh, isn't she cute? And Dustin, they've been married for 11 years, and they opened up their marriage last year. On this new TLC show called On Seeking Brother Husband, great title, they show their relationship with Vincent. Marriage. Oh my gosh, I love Quest. I almost knocked over my microphone trying to get back to my phone. I'm dead. So yeah, they opened up their marriage specifically in search of another man. Because, that's cool. The 10 years, they hit the 10-year mark, and they both decided, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to open up our marriage. Now, what I found really funny about this story was that the new guy that they brought into the relationship is not happy because he doesn't like feeling like the other wheel, the third wheel. So he's kind of upset about the fact that he's, kind of getting short shrift. And that's kind of the drama of the show, I think, of what's happening with the show. So, what do I think about... Listen. Okay, let's go deep. Being in a relationship with another human being is very difficult. It's a very difficult thing. It isn't rosy all the time. And it requires a lot of vulnerability. It requires a lot of communication. It requires a lot of understanding another person very, very deeply. Listen, you can quote me on this. I never yuck somebody else's yum. I never yuck somebody else's yum, right? That's my more libertarian view, right? If they're happy and they're doing what they want, vaya con Dios, God bless you. It's not for me. I feel like in many ways that this can lead to obviously resentment, which is clearly what we're seeing. Kim wants to date more men, but Vincent, the new guy, is concerned that it's going to hurt their relationship. When Kim met him a year ago, she said they had an instant connection. On the show, Vincent, who is 36, said he met Kim after struggling with shame over 2 failed marriages. Let's see. During the first episode of the show, Vincent and Dustin both say that they unexpectedly formed a close non-sexual bond over their genuine love for Kim. Dustin said he's open to Kim adding even more partners. Dustin, this is the husband, who is open to having even more partners to their family unit, saying he wants her to experience as much of life as she can. Now, here's the kicker. They also have a child. There's a 7-year-old involved here, who's a part of this. Yeah. So again, are they? If you're married and then you've got another person in your enclave, is it really marriage, or are you just kind of all dating each other? I don't know. I guess I feel like polyamory for me is really, really hard. And the people who promulgate it, I think, don't have a lot of self-awareness about how difficult relationships are in general. So I think I think that stuff like this is very difficult to do psychologically, spiritually. I also think that I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. Is a bonding experience with a couple, and it is something that couples need to be able to do to bond with each other. And I think that when people don't have it, or it's really not so great, it can cause a lot of, again, resentment in relationships. And but hey, there's a way. Don't y'all, I say y'all because I don't know this, but don't y'all use the word cuck? Isn't that a thing that we say, or people say online? C-U-C-K, cuck. Is this what we would consider cuck behavior? Tell me in the comments. I don't know. I'm looking at the comments, kind of scrolling by. Is this cuck behavior? But yeah. Anyway, again, like I said, I never yuck somebody's yum. Honey, live your best life. If this makes you happy, absolutely. Not for me, right? It's not something that I would want to do. I feel like it's complicated, and it just kind of leads to resentment. And there's always somebody in the relationship that's going to probably lose out. Envy, greed, gluttony. It's a gluttonous sort of idea to me that you're going to want to kind of take, I want this and I want this to as many partners ever because of apps. And that accessibility has made a lot of us sort of really turn off emotional intelligence that normally we might have in a relationship. And I also think because of that availability, we are living in a time where we have no resilience towards negative emotions. So our inability to sit with uncomfortable feelings married with the accessibility of other partners ready and willing at the swipe of a button makes for a really, really difficult time to be dating. If you guys are in the game or you're out of the game, if you're in the game, boy, it's awful. And if you're out of the game, just count your lucky stars that you're not in the game. Because being in the game, it's not fun, y'all. It's not fun. Yeah, it's a struggle. But again, you never want to yuck anybody's yum. If this makes you happy, vaya con Dios, pursuit of happiness, live your best life. As long as no one's getting hurt and you're not causing harm to anybody, live your best life. Okay, let's see. Oh, finally today, I'm working on this story for you guys, and it's kind of a big one. And I've got another one in the pipeline. I have right now, I don't have time for it today, but I want to talk a little bit about the Motte and Bailey fallacy. You're going to see that a lot in online argumentation, and I'm hoping to either do that tomorrow or on Friday. But I just want to give that to you. So that's kind of in the pipeline, just to kind of give you an idea of coming attractions. And then there's another article that I read on this site called Areo magazine, AREO. It's really, really good. It's a great website. It was started by Helen Pluckrose, who I found through the book Cynical Theories, which is another book that I love. But the article is about cute authoritarianism. And it's a really, really great insight into how we're sort of being nudged and conditioned by cute images and cute things towards a more totalitarian end. And so I'm working on that to sort of kind of give you that tomorrow. I don't know how long that's going to take me to do. Maybe 10 minutes or so. But I don't have to get into it today. But yeah, those are the things that are in the pipeline. And so yeah, I kind of to close out for today, I just wanted to share my other, I'm always doing the book reviews. I love to give a good book review at the end of my little sessions. So I want to make sure that this shows up. It shows up. This is one of the other books that I'm really, really a fan of. This was another book that really started my deconversion process. But this is the coddling of the American intentions and bad ideas are setting up a generation for failure. It's so good. It talks about the increasing sort of safe spaces, how we're sort of intellectually coddling people in schools. And it really, really kind of gave me an insight into what's going on in terms of the split with the right and the left. And if you get a chance, this is just a fantastic book. Yeah, so if you want to check that out, really, really, really good book. Let's see here. I'm just looking at the comments here before I scooch out. I've reached my new word capacity. Tolly, thank you. The quota has been achieved. I'm still trying to learn all the other existing English words. Yes, Tasteful Thickness says, Weinstein brought the Motte and Bailey to public view a bit in the past year. Yeah, I think it's something that we need to see more of because in today's political climate, Motte and Baileys are happening all the time. And just like Darvo, we need to be able to see Motte and Baileys and know what's going on in these kinds of arguments. Otherwise, you're going to always be on your back foot. The most important thing that you can do in the world of social media, which is driven by emotion and bad logic and bad fallacies, is to understand where these errors in thinking are coming from, how they are operating, and the sort of psychological games that people are playing in order to sort of move forward their chess pieces. So yeah, absolutely. Quest Fanning says, I do yuck some of the yums. I also know sexuality isn't a choice. I think another man's junk is yuck. God bless you, ladies. God bless you, gay dudes. We can't all be perfect. Not all of us have the gift, Mr. Quest. Not all of us have the gift. No, okay, I'm not going to say that line on TV. On television, you can't say that on television, Mr. Thickness over there. And I see Quest Fanning did give us a super chat. Thank you so much. I'm not running Austin's YouTube channel. I'm actually coming into it as from my own viewpoint. So I don't have the ability to check in and be like, oh, so I don't see the super chats come up unless they roll up in the screen as I'm watching. And I think you did donate yesterday, Quest, so thank you so much for doing that. People are asking me to do this next week. No. This y'all is tough. I think I said yesterday in the stream, this is work. There's a lot of research that goes into it, and it's been like, and then you obviously you have stage fright and you get performance anxiety and all that stuff. And I'm like, and so I'm finding that I have to sleep more and rest more. Austin, I think, says that he goes to bed at 8:00. Like, fair point. It's a lot of work. So, people are like, do it next week. And if Austin says from Japan, hey, will you do my show next week? I'll say, oh, thanks. No, I don't want to do that. No, thank you. So I will not be doing that next week. But it's been a great experience this week to do it. A lot of fun, a lot of work. And I hope you all are having a good time. These issues get so contentious, and we live in a democracy, which is maybe a good thing, maybe not a good thing. We can argue about that later. But I love the plurality of views. I love the community that Austin's building. I love I don't even know y'all, and I think y'all are just great people. So I appreciate you being so nice to me, being so welcoming to me. It means a lot, because I'm a stranger in paradise. I don't know the words, but I appreciate all the kindness that I've been getting, and I will try to be. I will be here tomorrow, and I will be back with more ideas for you, and we'll have things we want to talk about. I will too. All right, thanks so much for joining me today. Appreciate all of your time and attention, and glad it's just a light news week and nothing's really going on. It's great for me. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. So good to see all of you. Thank you so much for coming along on this ride with me this week. We got 2 more days of exciting stuff to share about, and I'm looking forward to wrapping up the week very successful. Enjoy your hump day. Unleash the Peterson. Oh, you don't even want that, because my brother I can hear Austin go, you should sing something on the show. You should sing something on the show. I'm like, no, this is not a music show. Maybe someday, but not today. Anyway, hope you all have a great day. It has been an adventure. It's so weird to sit here in a room by myself and talk to a computer screen. Not normal. But I'm having a great time, and I hope you are too. And I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for participating today, and thanks for the lively conversation, as always. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Have a great Wednesday.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today.
Fire.
Your printing company stinks. They charge you too much money and they don't love America enough. We've got the solution. Patriot Printing USA. Whether you're running for office, saving souls, or just need business cards that will get you the new job you've been looking for, Patriot Printing USA has got you covered with the best prices around. Palm cards, brochures, bumper stickers, door hangers, you name it, we've got it. PatriotPrintingUSA.com. That's PatriotPrintingUSA.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.